Spotify versus Google Play Music on today's Wednesday Morning Drive. Hey everybody, Matt Cribbs here, and welcome back to another Wednesday Morning Drive. I am back from vacation. Had a great week last week. It was a lot of fun. Washington, D.C. is always a great place to visit, except possibly in August during a heat wave. That's the worst it's been in 30 years. But other than that, it was a lot of fun. And hey, we were inside museums most of the time. So really, really good. Look back to last week to see what we did. I think the overall winner was the Air and Space Museum. Kind of a tie between the old one and the Udvar-Hazy Center, if that's how you pronounce it. But Museum, even though it's pay, fared surprisingly well. People enjoyed that quite a bit. So that's that. Hope you're doing great. It's been, kind of hectic getting back into the swing of normal life since I got back on vacation. But I'm getting there. I'm getting all caught up. But there's one thing that happened, a conversation that happened while I was on vacation with my brother. He doesn't have a version number because he's not an M. Cribbs. I guess, I don't know. He's a forked project. Anyway, this analogy is not going to work very long. But having a conversation with my brother, who is with us on vacation, it was around music applications. And I have been a long-time Spotify user. I've used Spotify. I paid for a Spotify premium account. I've canceled it in the past, and then I've paid for it again because it was, just so useful. Now, excuse me, I'm going to have a coffee out of, by the way, pink mug is what you get if you lose your non-pink mugs over and over. Excuse me, but that's how it goes. Yeah, I've used Spotify for several years, and it's been good for me. It's played the music that I've wanted to play. I've discovered some new music through it, and just so you have a sense of my usage and my tastes. I don't listen to a lot of modern music and pop top 10 or whatever that is. I generally listen to, as you might be able to guess by looking roughly at my age, a lot of music that came out in the 90s and some 80s, and across the spectrum between rock. Also, I used to be a musician in high school, and so I do listen to a lot of jazz and stuff like that. And my secret guilty pleasure is musicals. Forgive me. But also, there's podcasts and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the type of stuff I listen to. So, I'm not going to be looking at these apps for who can get me the absolutely latest, greatest in necessarily some niche format. Now, I do like a lot of, ska and specifically like the Californian West Coast ska punk type stuff, which is kind of niche, but it had a wave. So there's some well-known bands that do that. So really, not looking at niches, not looking at, the latest and greatest music. I just have, the music that I like to play and that I like to listen to, and I like to listen to it in various places. On that, I drive. Normally during this drive, if I'm not talking to you, I'll listen to a podcast, or I'll listen to actually a YouTube video, just the audio portion of it. I don't like to listen to music while I walk around the city. I don't like to be plugged into headphones and be listening to music, because I like to listen to my music at a volume I can hear the details of it, which is a little louder. And, I'm walking down a big city where who knows what could be happening around me with cars, driving somewhere they shouldn't, or, suspicious characters or whatever. I like to maintain that awareness around me and be able to hear what's going on to the point where I don't really want to have headphones on and be plugged in to listening. So, and I do listen to a lot of stuff at my desk when I'm trying to, drown out the sound of things around me in the office, or focus, or even, the magical fact that you put headphones on, people bother you less, which is a huge tip. But yeah, that's generally my listening habits. I I don't really have I don't really multitask very well, and the secret is no one really multitasks well. People do one thing at a time, and when you think you're multitasking, you're really just splitting your attention very rapidly. So I don't like to have complicated music that I enjoy on in the background while I'm doing something else that requires my attention, because then you're not really listening to the music. Calm, soothing background noise, not trance, but that type of music, non-lyrical, ambient music is more the that style. So that's what I listen to. That's when I listen to it. That's my usage patterns, and that's the eye I'm looking at when I'm looking for a music service. And Spotify has done fine with that. Didn't use a lot of the social stuff all that much. I mean, there's one or two friends that I'm like, okay, I kind of like your musical taste, and then I listen to a playlist, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I like the stuff that is, I already know about, and the other stuff you like, I don't like. So, that's how that went. But the conversation with my brother, basically, he's been using Google Play Music. And so I checked it out. They have a free trial. I've been very resistant to using a lot of the Google infrastructure. Although, ironically, I am a big Android user. I use Gmail and Google Calendar. I don't use like Google Keep. I use Evernote, as we've discussed. And I don't use Amazon Prime Video or music or iTunes or Google Play Music. Any of those services or Google Play Videos, I don't like those services where you go buy content and you store it in your account. Even my Kindle, even the Amazon Kindle where I buy the books, makes me a bit uncomfortable. But on that, the pure convenience factor, on the fact that there's not really any other bookstores that are convenient, or well, now there is for me. But there weren't a lot of convenient bookstores. That one is what beat me there. But I don't like having someone else own my library, because, then as the service, if the service doesn't do what I want, all that content I paid for is stuck in their system. And if I move somewhere else, I'd have to buy it again, or I do not like that model. So I haven't used a lot of those pay models, which is why Spotify, with you basically are renting access to their library, was great. So I hadn't tried Google Play Music for those reasons, but I did give it a try. And I'll say, I actually, on Monday, I closed my Spotify account and I paid for Google Play Music. So yeah, I think that's a fairly clear vote on what I thought was the winner. But why? And so there were a couple features that, well, overall, I think Google Play Music and Spotify are really, really close. I mean, if some of the features that weren't the key deciding factors for me are not important for you, then literally the decision may come down to which color scheme do I like better. They really are, feature-wise and price-wise and library-wise, music, the amount of music they have available, the general playback features for playlists, and all of that stuff. And the core of their products are so on par with each other. It will come down to interface type decisions. Like, I just like where the play button is on this one better. So as far as that goes, it's a great time for the consumer right now, because we have these products that are so close together that they're going to be competing with each other, which is great, because competition means more features, which means we win. We're going to get better services out of this competition. And I don't use Apple iTunes stuff. I never got into the iTunes mobile or the Apple mobile products. I only use iTunes on my computers. I don't use iTunes on my computers. I only use Apple on my computers, which is a whole nother topic, basically, because it's Unix. But so Apple products are, if I owned Apple products everywhere, it might be a different story, because Apple products work with other Apple products super, super well. But as soon as you add a non-Apple product into the mix, they don't work together. They don't like to talk. So that pretty much made iTunes not really something I was looking at and off the table for me. But from what I hear, it is equally on par. So now we have 3 competing services that are really, really good. Great for us. So why did I like Google Play better than Spotify? Better enough to switch in the course of, a couple days of trying it. And while I was trying this out, I've used it extensively. I've listened to more music and more stuff over the past few days than I have listened ever in the past couple years. Like, I wanted to give this a fair shot, and I really hardcore used the application. So there were a couple features that, just worked better for me. One is the Google recommendations they have. And as I believe this is a technology. So when you log in, they have, it's Tuesday morning or it's Wednesday morning. Do you feel like being pumped up or relaxed or whatever? And they have these, auto suggest playlists, as well as they have the I'm feeling lucky playlist, just like their search. And Spotify has a similar thing. It never really worked for me. It never really got me music that I was interested in. So what I would do on Spotify would be find an artist or a genre or something that kind of fit my mood, and then choose that playlist and then hit skip a lot. I don't curate my own playlist. I don't got time for that. It's a pain in the butt to maintain my own playlist, so I don't do it. I rely on the features of the services. So Spotify, I would rely on getting close and then skipping a lot of tracks. But the Google Play features for these things, and initially, so-so, but like Google does, they are so heavily invested in learning and stuff, their suggestions are actually getting better, and it's finding music that I actually am enjoying, even whether I know what the song is or not, or I'd ever heard of the artist. It's working, and I believe, look it up. I believe this is a feature they actually bought. They bought from another company that was doing this, Songza or something. I don't remember exactly, but I'm fairly certain they did buy this technology and then have integrated it with their service. And when Google buys you, it's kind of a crapshoot. Either they're going to take the technology and integrate it deeply into what they have, kind of like what's been going on kind of with Waze, how you see that in the traffic recommendations on Google Maps, or they'll buy you and shelve it, and that technology will die and never see the light of day. But on this one, they took it and they integrated it fairly deeply, and I think have made a lot of investment in getting this technology to work, which makes sense because it's kind of in line with their core strategy. So yeah, if anyone invents Skynet, it's gonna be Google. But that feature works, and it's really cool to just be able to go and click and say, okay, I'm in this mood, boom, and actually have something that's usable. And give me stuff I like. So that's been a great feature. The other one that was really, really cool for me is I have a lot of old MP3s that I have on my local computer from before everything went online. And some of them are very specific recordings, and I'd never been able to find that exact recording elsewhere on any of the services. Like, it'll be a common song that is out there and that you can find the song, but there's a specific recording that does a certain lyric or this certain musical phrase in a certain way, and I just like hearing it. I'm used to hearing it that way, so when I hear the other version of it, it sounds off to me. It sounds wrong. So I'd always kept these around, and they just languish and sit in my archive on my hard drive. And I had them, but you can take your local library and sync it with an app, and that's a pain in the butt because I never plug in my stuff. And Spotify, you can kind of think about it, not there. But the way Google Play Music does is you take your MP3s, your songs, your music, and you upload them to the service, and they store it in the cloud, and you can stream it to any of your devices that are connected there. So suddenly I have, you know, I'm paying for access to the Google Library of Music, which is on par with iTunes and Spotify and all of that. They have most of what you want. And if they don't have something, I can upload it into my personal library. I think it's something like 50,000 tracks, way more than I have. And it's seamlessly integrated with everything else they have. It's like, it's amazing. It's exactly the way this feature should be implemented. Once I've uploaded, I haven't been able to figure out how I can tell, actually, when I'm using the interface, wait, is this a version I uploaded or is this a different version? It might be in there somewhere, but I don't know where it is. So it's great. I have, you know, my entire library of music, whether it's sourced from theirs or my own files and this weird version of this song that I happen to like, and it's just all there in one place. And that right there was the feature that just nailed it for me. I was like, that's it. This is perfect. This is exactly what I want. So really, I mean, those were that. It's another handy thing that's nice to have. I do a lot of stuff YouTube, of course. And not only do I like to create content, not enough of it, but I also consume quite a bit. And a Google Play Music subscription right now, I don't know if this is the plan for the entire future of these services, but at least for right now, comes with YouTube Red subscription, which I'm not interested in YouTube Red as a feature in and of itself. You know, when I'm listening to YouTube videos or stuff, if I'm not actually watching the video, I will generally just turn it on and toss it in the other seat beside me. So I don't care that I can play the stuff in the background. That wasn't a feature that really excited me. The ad-free, I mean, it's nice to watch things ad-free and still be able to support the creators, because I'm a big believer in that. But honestly, the YouTube ads are not to the point where they're intrusive enough they really ever bothered me. So yeah, I wasn't even considering purchasing YouTube Red or subscribing to YouTube Red on my own. But thrown in as a bonus feature to this other service, it takes something that was, you know, winning already on features, at least for me, and makes it a no-brainer. I mean, it's the package of them both for what, $10 a month. It's a killer package, and I would heartily recommend everyone to take a look at it and see if it's your own. I'm not endorsed by Google, although I'm open to it if you'd like to throw me some money, Big G. But but yeah, it's exactly the software and the situation that I was looking for. It's good. I did say I don't like apps in my browser. I like to have standalone apps. So I was a little worried about that with losing Spotify, because if I'm listening to music, I don't want to go, you know, dig through all my tabs, and I do web development. Sometimes I crash browsers and close them and clear cookies all over the place, so it's kind of a pain in the butt to use my services in a browser. But there is a handy, I don't think it's officially Google sponsored one, there's a Google Play Music desktop application, something like that. You Google for it, you'll find it. And it's been working perfectly. I mean, it's really just a thin web wrapper around the web interface. It's not offline or anything, I don't think. But it fulfills the important point of getting it out of my mix of tabs and the process of my main browser. So when I crash my main browser, it still goes. Anyway, that's it. I absolutely endorse, or no, I don't endorse it. I love using Google Play Music. I made the switch. Check them out. And Spotify's a great service too. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, for me, in my use case, Google Play Music won. But like I said, it's a great time for all of us because these services are really so close together. There's going to be a lot of competition. So, great stuff. Hope this was useful to you. I will talk to you next week. Enjoy. Later. Keep playing. Ow. Bye.